I want to take us back to January 1998. There are a lot of you that weren't born by that time, and quite a number of you were maybe children, and then there are those who were adults. So let me jolt the memories of even those who were adults by January 1998. One of the things that we thought was that democracy might not come to Nigeria, or even in the next 20 years as of that time. We felt that there will be no democracy. Why? We had a terrible dictator in power. Later that year, he died. And another person took over, a military person. But by 1999, democracy was something that was, at reach, and we could get it. What am I trying to get at? I'm trying to tell every one of us that the democracy that we have today, people died for it. Some people lost everything for us to have this democracy. There are people who up to today, they have never recovered from the fact that they dared the government and insisted that the people must have a right on choosing who they vote for. So let's not take it for granted. I know it's your choice to take it for granted if you want to, and nobody has absolutely any right to tell you anything. But just to remind you that this democracy that we see today, once upon a time in Nigeria, we were told that it will not be possible. Once upon a time in Nigeria, we didn't have a say in how we were governed, who governed us, or whatever they did. All they put out was a decree. Somebody would wake up in the morning, maybe his wife had offended him, or a friend, or his children, or whatever. Bam, there's a decree, and we all have to follow. But today, there's democracy. It might not be the kind of democracy we want. It might not yet be where we want to, and that's where we come in. The democracy today that we take for granted, so many people fought for it. So many people died for it. So many people lost everything for it. So many people have not recovered up to today from the fight that they had. And so what do? Let us ensure that we go on with this democracy, that we get good governance, accountability, and transparency, so that the next generation can take it for granted also, good governance, accountability, and transparency. Most of us look at it and say, we can't get good governance. Guess what? Even the democracy, once upon a time, we thought we couldn't get it. There is one thing, whenever I feel like giving up on Nigeria, there's one thing that I always remember. I remember that we were told that the poor cannot have mobile phone, and we believed. And anytime I think about it, I feel, wow, you can be conditioned in such a way that you yourself do not even see yourself as somebody that is deserving of certain things. And that's the reason why when they told us that, well, the phone is not for the poor, telephone is not for the poor, a lot of us believed it, and not only believed it, we accepted it, and we're ready to have it go. The GSM that you have today, that you take for granted, we couldn't take it for granted once upon a time because we were told we could not have it. I remember then we would hear stories that in Ghana, a cobbler, a market woman, that people who have mobile phone. But then in Nigeria, we were being oppressed by those who have that 090. There's something about power. There's something about oppression. Everyone has capacity to oppress. It just takes the willpower not to oppress other people and respect other people the way you want to be respected. So those people who had 090, they were okay with the Nigeria because then they were the big boys and the big girls. And those that wanted to chill with them, of course, we do everything to keep the status quo and get there. And when they have the 090, they oppress the rest of us. But it took simple policy changes. For now, GSM, mobile phone, to be available to almost, not everyone, but it's there. It's affordable to a lot of people. That is something I hold on to anytime. And I'm like, wow, I once believed that telephone was not actually for the poor. And so anytime somebody wants to tell me that I'm not deserving of a Nigeria that can give me good governance, accountability, and transparency, where things will work, where there will be good quality public education, where access to education will not be dependent on the economic status of one's family, where you can get a job, the child of nobody can get a job without knowing anybody, without knowing a senator or having a leg or having a connection, where you leave school and there's employment for you, where when it comes to employment is about what you bring to the table, not about who you know. where you're proud, where your president is not going abroad to go and seek for medical health care. It's available here and everybody can have access to it. That Nigeria that gives me that and a whole lot more, I know it's possible. And I'm not giving up on going for that Nigeria. And so I will take part in the democratic process. And I hope you too will join me and take part in the democratic process. The least that we can do is to give the generation that are coming a Nigeria where good governance, accountability, transparency, all the good things of a nation are there, so that they too can take it for granted, and then they will fight for other things, more sophisticated problems. You know, in life, you never get everything. There's always something. I would rather we have Nigerians who are focused on climate change, who are focused on inner peace, who are focused on, technological development, how they're going to Mars, how Nigeria's satellite, and all the amazing things, and not just focus on being alive and having good quality education, and not focus on the fact that they are at home because ASU is on strike. That Nigeria is possible. And the only way we can get it is to take part in the democratic process. And you and I must do that. Every one of us, we must become political activists. It's either you're running for office because you have what it takes, you can sacrifice, you want to put Nigeria first, and you want to work towards getting a Nigeria that works for us. You have the competence, character, and capacity, you're running for office. Or else you're campaigning for those who have competence, character, and capacity who are running for office. Or you are helping them to raise money for their campaign. Or the last one, you're holding them accountable. You're scrutinizing it. You're scrutinizing them. You're making demands on them. You're holding them accountable, even before they get to office and also after they get to office. Every one of us, we must do something. Let's make sure that we have a country that every one of us will be proud of. I remember, so that when your grandchildren are asking you what role did you play in the great Nigeria that we have, you will not need to lie to them, because indeed you too would have done so well. Thank you, and see you tomorrow, inshallah. Bye.